Hello everyone, welcome to today's race and welcome to how I'm going to show you this car is better than any other F1 car service out there. And I'm going to do that over this fixed 20-minute race at Monza. We're off to a bad start here as I let off that clutch too quickly and that bogs the car down. We're losing positions as the cars start moving around us, but we are still going thankfully. That may change soon as we're coming into turn 1 here at Monza as we see the cars coming together in front of us. It looks like that was netcode, but we still have a car on our inside and we just about beat them onto the power there as we enter the Curva Grande. Now we are right behind the car in front of us and gaining on them quickly here, so I'm going to look for a clean line down there inside here and still brake early, looking at the cars ahead of us. And there has been a big incident. We have cars off to our right and a damaged car to our left, and now we have cars rejoining right alongside us. Thankfully no collision for us, but we are through and we now have Alonso back in front of us, but he's serving a slowdown here and he's doing it on the racing line annoyingly, so we have to get past him as quick as possible there to avoid him slowing us down. Now let's review what happened in that chicane here. We have the first few cars coming through okay, then look at that red SF, gets turned by the car behind him. Unfortunately for him, he's off the track cleanly and we have cars escaping on the escape road and kicking up all that gravel. Now we're on with the instigator here and he just brakes too late with the cars slowing up in front of him, being bunched up so much. And now he's just throwing all that gravel into the track for good measure. This was Alonso, we were side by side with him and you can see the split second decision he had to make there. There was no way he was going to be able to turn left, so he had to take to the escape road sensibly. We're rejoining later now on that lap as we're coming through Ascari, and we have Perez behind us. Quite a few apt names in today's race. I think no one would have seen him driving for McLaren. Now he is firmly behind us, and needless to say the suction here is quite strong, especially with the fixed setup having so much downforce compared to the opens. So he's 4 tenths behind us now. We're going to see how much he closes up to us as we get to turn 1 and whether or not he's going to make a move. I'm a little concerned as well, seeing him blinking in my rearview mirror. He has a bit of a look, but he decides not to commit there, which gives me a good line through here. I'm just going to focus on getting on that power, but it's still a bit tricky here. Very easy with how much torque this car has to turn it around there, so I feel the tyres were not quite there for it, and Perez is now right alongside us coming into the second chicane. I'm going to back out of it here and give him the corner. Still only into lap 2 here. See how much gravel he picks up from that incident earlier. Tyres get really dirty for him there, but he's still pushing really hard. You can see how wide he runs in the first Lesmo. And then again in the second Lesmo, even wider, kicking up yet more gravel onto the racetrack. Now we're going to skip ahead a couple laps. I'd done my best to keep up with Perez, but he had exceptional pace. However, we were both still able to catch up to this next group of cars, and we're coming up behind Albin. I'm on my push to pass here because I wanted to get firmly behind him into that toe, and I'm going to need to come off it now that I'm there. It's going to take at least a lap and a half here before I can use it again, hoping to try and save as much of it as possible for those last few laps. Now being careful coming into turn 1, you can see Perez making a move. Now he's up 2 positions on this group of cars. I'm just trying to stay out of the back of Albin ahead of us, expecting him to be a bit slow there through the first chicane. And there's been an incident behind us, so we're going to have a look on our top right camera. We're going to see this blue SF just really outbrakes himself there, but thankfully avoids the car and is able to take to the escape road. Now we are through the second chicane ourselves here. A lot of the cars just jumping back and forth, really fighting each other. So I'm being very cautious here because it only takes 1 hit as we really have to check up there with Albin. It's slowing up immensely for that car in front of us. And we nearly go into the back of him, and we really have to avoid any front wing damage here as that causes so much understeer on these cars. I'm just going to aim because I want to get past Albin now. He's really slowing us up. You can see Perez is up nearly 4 positions now from this group alone. He is flying and I really don't want him to get out of reach. So although I'm not far enough behind Albin for the move into the Parabolica, I'm hoping that I'm going to be close enough now on the main straight to get him into turn 1. coming up right behind him, but now you can see he starts flashing. That means Albin is on the attack. We're going to see if he's going to be able to make it past car number 8 in front of him, but they're now ducking and weaving behind each other. Just trying to find my way through here myself on the outside, and oh no, Albin gets turned in front of us. It's unfortunate considering how well he'd just been doing there to get past car number 8 himself, and now we're coming up very quickly behind car number 8, so we're going to go down the inside, and you can see there in the rearview mirror he's got no front wing there, so it looks like he's lost that in that contact with Albin. So reviewing what just happened there with Albin, we're following on board. He's trying to follow Perez around the outside, but he's just going to get sandwiched as Perez is slow, and then Albin just gets carelessly hit from the rear by that green SF. There's at least a little calmer for him there, because we're going to see here he loses that front wing, which is going to really curtail his race. Now on to lap 9, we're coming up to turn 1, and there's another incident in front of us. We can see one of car off on the escape road, and another one that's just rejoining ahead of us. We're going to get another position here as they're slow off the escape road, but we're going to have a look exactly what just happened there. Bit of a blink from that blue SF, and looks like they're all just going deep into the braking zone there. Meanwhile, we're watching him in our rear view just in case he tried to make a move into the second chicane, but we are still ahead. Rejoining onto lap 10, we have now caught up to that yellow McLaren we saw before. I'm on the push to pass as I was trying to make sure I caught up to them out of Ascari into Parabolica, and we are now right up behind Anderson, so I'm going to try and come off the push to pass as we draw alongside here. Again, trying to save it and make sure that it's going to be ready for the last few laps. And I felt that I'd have at least enough of an overlap here to be good into turn 1, but he is still there, so I'm going to brake earlier and make sure I leave space on the outside for him. Not quite sure there. Anderson seemed to open up the corner more, which cost him a couple of attempts, but he's still right behind us as we enter the Curva Grande. So I'm going to move towards the outside to defend, because I want to try and start building a gap to him. Likely expecting him to have push to pass still available. Make sure I leave the space on the outside, and again he opens up the corner, which just makes him lose a couple attempts there, and he has to fall in behind us as we enter Parabolica 1. And there's a bit of a warning there. You can see sand being kicked up by Perez, who, even though he's checked out in front of us here, is still pushing, likely chasing down P4. Meanwhile, Anderson behind us is still firmly tucked in, even as I come into one of the best sectors on this track in the SF, with all this downforce making Ascari feel so good. Just got to make sure I carry as much speed as possible, which I have done, but Anderson is still 4 tenths behind us and closing in that slipstream. So he's going to be close enough to launch an attack on the out of Parabolica. You see now he's 4 tenths, so I'm going to watch how fast that comes down as we come towards turn 1. I'm going to stay to the inside just in case he's not going to be quick enough, but look at the speed he's carrying there. He's going to be ahead of us here into the braking zone, and I can see now his rear light is flashing, which means he is on the push to pass now, which means that he's going to have an extra bit of power from the car's battery system, which he's likely going to try and use to pull away from us here. So I have to really follow him close, even though I'm going to be in the dirty air, giving me some understeer. I'm using that slipstream into the second chicane just to try and keep up with him. I managed to nail that apex, but you can see he misses it on that first part, which makes him slow, leaving the chicane. So we are still right behind him now into the first of the 2 Parabolicas. Staying as close as possible to him here, fighting the understeer coming from being so close to him in that dirty air. You can just see what that extra power is giving him here. Even in the slipstream, I cannot catch up to him before Ascari, so I've just got to keep in behind him, making sure I'm nailing those apexes and being on the power. It's working so far. We're still 2 tenths right underneath his wing here. I just cannot make up any speed in a straight line, so it's all going to be down to the corners here. I'm going to be ready to go on the push to pass soon, but I'm going to have to get on it earlier now because I go very wide out of Parabolica, and I really cannot afford to lose that slipstream to him. We've only got 2 laps left here at Monza, so I've really got to now make the move So we're both going to be fighting on the push to pass, but looks like his has either run out or he switched it off. Be a poor move he has switched it off, because it will not be available to him now until the end of the race. But you can just about see in the live cam in the top right there, his halo is flashing red, which means he is out of battery. And we still have plenty of it as we're coming through the Curva Grande here. He's defending to the inside, but it won't matter. We were ahead into the braking zone, and we just about make it around the outside there, around the first corner in the chicane. And now we've got another incident in front of us. That was P5. Looks like something has happened to them. Not quite sure, so we will have to review that. We are ahead and now up to P5 ourselves. Now this is our move on Anderson around the outside. You can see just how tight that was between the two of us. Just about left a car's width using that curbing. And now this was P5, who unfortunately, after everything he'd been doing in the race, gets taken out by a backmarker who just planted himself on that racing line. And that's going to give us and Perez another position. Now on to the penultimate lap here. Anderson has just started to fall off here, but I've used my push to pass system, so I've got nothing left in the tank. I'm watching this battle ahead of us here, just in case something might happen between them. And we can see there's a car that's turned around. That's P2. And there's Perez, who's also turned around. Now P2's rejoined, and Jesus, that was exceptionally lucky for us. And unfortunately for Anderson, he got caught up in that. So let's see, this is what happened with Perez. He's down the inside on that car. He's made the move stick, but unfortunately there's some terrible netcode between them. And we got slowed up a little there with Anderson right behind us. This is what P2 did. This was a very questionable move from them. They lose it under power using that push to pass system. And there's Perez turning in the background. But look at this rejoin. We just about make it. But unfortunately, Anderson, who had done exceptional to stay with us that entire race, got caught out there. So at the end, we crossed the finish line in P3. A bit of an undeserved podium finish, but I'm going to take it in the end, considering what we had to do in order to avoid all that chaos. So that is the end of today's race. It has certainly been a great showing of what these races are like in the SF23, and I hope you all have enjoyed that. So please leave a like and subscribe if you can, as that really helps me on the channel, and I will see you next time.